Have you ever noticed how every time a swordsman enters the scene, the atmosphere changes completely? It is not only about fight, it is about performing. Each movement, each cut, each look is pure art in movement. And if you're like me, you know that these moments are not only fights, they are manifestations of absolute power. Today we're going to dive again into this universe, where the blade speaks louder than any word. These are the moments in which the swordsmen of anime simply broke the internet.
And starting with an explosion of pure visual insanity, we enter the universe of Fate's Saber Alter against Berserker in Heaven's Wheel 2 Lost Butterfly.
If the world of Fate is like a hidden battlefield between magicians, this fight seemed to tear the sky itself. On one side, Berserker, a legendary monster, a giant of muscles and with 12 lives, a being that normally would face armies alone and leave without a scratch. But when he faces Saber Alter, the corrupted queen, the thing changes shape. Each blow of hers is a thunder, each defense of his is an earthquake, and even with all his strength, Berserker falls and gets up only to be crushed again. This fight was not only a demonstration of strength, it was a clash of divinities, a duel that transformed destruction into spectacle. Without doubt, one of the most legendary conference of all the Fate franchise.
Now we go of pure technique and experience. Barrows versus Rose. A duel that proves that time does not weaken a true master. He is the Alpha. Rose believed that his armor and shield would be enough to face an old retired man with a sword. But Barrows is not only a veteran, he is someone that has already danced with death more times than you can count. And when the fight begins, he shows exactly that. Each movement of his is calculated, precise, and lethal. He reads Rose's strategy as if it were an open book, daring his defense and his confidence at the same time. In few instances, what was a duel becomes a lesson. Barrows did not fight only with a sword. He fought with the wisdom of an entire life on the edge of the blade. Rose never faced a hillbilly. She faced a master.
And speaking of master, there is no way to leave aside the original, the classic, the untouchable, Goemon Ishikawa from Lupin III.
This man is practically a living legend. With his sword Santetsuken, he cuts the impossible, literally. He faces waves of armed enemies from all sides. But while the chaos takes over, Goemon remains motionless, serene, and almost meditative. Then, in a single movement, arms, weapons, and bodies are split in half with the elegance of a calligraphy stroke. No shot at the ear shakes him. He simply cuts the enemy's weapon and defeats him with absolute coldness. It is a massacre, but a massacre with grace. Goemon proves that his sword is not only a weapon, it is an extension of perfection. A reminder that Santetsuken is the synonym of respect and fear in the whole anime world.
Now it is time to speak of someone that completely redefines the concept of swordsman. His name is Sojiro, the Sword of the Willow of the anime Ishura. In scene, he faces an entire army of golem, creatures of heavy stones, imposing and practically immune to common weapons. Any normal warrior will look at that and think, impossible. But Sojiro is not anyone, he is the swordsman. And to prove that, he does not even need a sharp blade. He enters the battle using a blind sword, and even so, transforms the impossible into pure mortal poetry. Each blow is so precise that the impact resonates like music. Each movement is the dance of a man that has already understood the essence of the blade. Sojiro does not cut with strength, he cuts with intention. And in this moment, he shows to the world that the true sword is not in the iron, but in the soul of who wields it. And speaking of divine power, nothing compares to the triumphant entrance of Sinbad, the king of the seven seas, in Magi. The guy not only arrives, he descends with a thunder. In a single strike, he summons the lightning of the sky and destroys everything that is in the way. It is so absurd that even the enemies stay in silence, looking at that man with reverence. And the most incredible, who presents him is not an ally, but the own villain, who calls him the great King Sinbad. When even the enemy recognizes his greatness, you know that you are before a legend. This Sinbad does not come alone. Behind him, all the alliance of the seven seas marches like a divine army. In this moment, he does not need to prove anything. His presence defined the result of the battle before even beginning. When Sinbad arrives, the destiny has already been decided.
And when the sword belongs to someone that does not fight for glory but for protection, then comes Ghislaine the Deldia of Mushoki to say,
She is a woman with the strength of an army and the ferocity of a wild beast, master of the sword, a ruthless teacher, and the personification of the instinct of survival. And the moment in which she really shines is when the two kidnappers try to abduct Rudius and Eris. In a matter of seconds, she moves and the world around seems to stop. The enemies do not even understand what happened. One instant they are alive, and in the other fallen. Defeated, disarmed. The difference between a common swordsman and a master reveals himself.
And now we're going to slow down the rhythm because the next moment is pure pain. We speak of Hyakimaru of Dororo.
In his entire life, it was a search to recover what the demons stole from him, the body, the voice, the humanity. But nothing could prepare him for what happens when he meets Miu, the woman that accepts him, even without words and even without scars. She sings for him, she welcomes him, and for a brief instant, Hyakimaru feels something he never had, peace. But destiny, cruel as always, tears everything again. Mio and the children she cared for are massacred by the samurais, and Hyakimaru simply explodes. The silent man transforms into a living storm. His sword is no longer a weapon, it is the pain itself incarnated. He crosses dozens of soldiers in bloody frenzies, blinded by hatred and despaired. It is brutal, it is sad, and it is human. Because in that moment, Hyakimaru was not fighting against enemies, he was fighting against destiny itself. Some swordsmen break the internet by pure strength, others by determination. And nobody faces this better than Ikki Kurogane, the crownless knight of Rakudai Kishi no cavalry.
クロスレンジは私の領域。
さんへの誠意、そして僕自身の挑戦だ。
受けて立つ。この最強の雷キリで。
剣ナイト。
雷キリ。
最初から分かっている。彼女が強いことも、自分が人より劣っていることも、至らないなら振り絞れ。一分も入れない。魂を研ぎ澄ませ。駆け抜けろ。極限の一瞬を。
During the whole series, he was called a failure, the weakest student, the talentless one, the one that should never dream of victory. But then comes a duel against Toka Todo, the Raikiri, the undefeated, the woman that fights like a lightning and does not retreat. He bets everything in a single forbidden technique, Ito Shura, a
power that condenses an entire minute of energy in a single second at the cost of destroying the own body. When he activates the technique, the world slows down, the colors disappear, only the sound of the blood pulsing and of the blade cutting. The air remains with a single strike that crosses the storm. It was not luck, it was not a miracle, it was pure will. In that instant, the worst student becomes the invisible king of the swords, and the entire audience understands. He was never the weak one. He only waited for the right moment to shine.
And to close this block, with a touch of pure mortal elegance, we have Hakuro, the old master of the Sword of Ten Seraph line.
いや、まだ見えてはおらぬな。そろそろお主の天眼にもわしの動きが追えるじゃろうって。おぼろ流水山。動けない。終わりじゃよ。
At the beginning, he seems that typical calm veteran, always smiling, always observing. But when Kyoya, the arrogant swordsman full of tricks, decides to challenge him, the world notices the mistake. Kyoya tries everything, illusions, barriers, tricks, but nothing works. Hakuro faces him with the serenity of someone that has already won thousands of battles before. And in a single movement, he cuts not only the body of the enemy, but also his pride. Kyoya falls, not only defeated, but dismantled. Hakuro proves that the sword does not serve to show off, it serves to teach. It is a difference between youth and wisdom, between technique and soul. In the end, the old master keeps his blade and returns to calm, as if nothing had happened. Because for him, that was not a fight, it was only a lesson of respect.
Now we go to a new world of monsters and titans, Kaiju number 8. And who dominates this battlefield with pure class is Vice Captain Hoshina.
Focusing your attacks, aiming for the narrow gaps in my actions. Get your next attack and respond.
Wild Slasher!
So those attacks.
Called by many the Levi Ackerman of this universe, Hoshina shows what it means to have technique and confidence in divine levels. While he faced Kaiju number 10, his calm borders arrogance. Each cut is clean, precise, without effort. While the monster despairs, Hoshina seems to be dancing, an artist in the middle of chaos. And it is exactly this that makes him so frightening. He enjoys to fight. His smile, the movement of his feet, the swing of the blade, everything exhales perfection. Hoshina does not need to prove that he is the best. He only needs a strong enemy enough to make him have fun. And from a dance of blades, we pass to a poetic massacre. Mizu, the protagonist of Blue White Samurai.
E pela aflição que essa
Faces the 4 prisoners, implacable assassins, each one with a mortal style. They surround her, believing they have advantage. But what they do not know is that Mizu does not fight only for survival. She fights for vengeance, for identity, and for redemption. The result is a brutal and beautiful spectacle at the same time. Each blow is choreographed with surgical precision. Each cut carries years of anger and discipline. In minutes, the 4 are on the ground, and Mizu does not even lose the breath. It is not only a victory, it is a declaration. She is the strength that the world tried to erase, but will never be able to destroy.
Then comes one of the most emotional returns of recent times, Kirito in Sword Art Alicization.
For months, he was trapped in a wheelchair, unable to react, unable to fight. But when chaos takes over and Po, the Prince of Hell, threatens everything he loves,
he finally stands with the night sky sword in one hand and the blue rose sword, the legacy of Yu-Gi-Oh! In the other. He is reborn. The soundtrack rises, the light explodes, and the hero that everyone waited for returns. Each blow is a reminder. Each defense is a silent oath. And when he finally imprisons Poe in the Gigasita tree, the same tree from the beginning of their journey, everything closes with perfection. Kirito not only wins, he ends a cycle. It is the hero reconciling with his own loss.
And if we speak of style, charisma, and pure presence, it is impossible to ignore the most extravagant Hashira of all. Tengen Uzui, the sound pillar of Demon Slayer.
毒の巡りも一時的に止まる。勝ちに行くぞ
During the fight against Gyutaro, Tengen poisoned, wounded, practically at the edge of death, but that does not stop him from fighting as if the battlefield were a stage, and he is the main star. With his twin chain swords, he transforms each strike into a visual show, dodging the demon's blood blades as if he danced into rhythm of danger. Even mutilated, he protects Tanjiro, coordinates the group, and still keeps that confident smile. The sound of the fight becomes music, and Tengen is the conductor. In the end, he shows that being a swordsman is not only about killing demons, it is about shining even at the edge of darkness. And finally, we arrive at the man that does not need screams, nor transformations, and nor devil fruits. To be feared, Shanks, the red-haired of One Piece.
さすがだな。赤髪カムサリ。
When Eustace Kid arrives, full of arrogance, ready to destroy everything with his punk gutted maid, Shanks only observes and acts using his conqueror's haki. He foresees the future, sees each possibility, and decides to end everything in a single strike. Kamsari, the same legendary attack of Gold Roger and the Only Bearer, he destroys Kid's ship, annihilates his army, and silences the entire sea without fuss, without mercy. Shanks does not fight for ego, he fights to protect. And it is exactly for this that the world fears, because when Shanks draws the sword, the entire sea holds the breath. These were the moments in which the swordsmen of the anime world simply broke the internet, each one with their own philosophy, their own fury, their own art. And now, I want to know from you, which of these moments truly gave you chills? Comment down below, leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to continue this journey with us, because in the next video, it will cut deeper than everything. Thank you for watching until here. Thanks, we are together, and bye-bye.